За сайн байцгаана уу? Намайг Yanjaa гэдэг. Тэгээд өнөөдөр солонгос хэлний цагаан толгойн талаар ярих гэж байна. So today I want to talk about my new challenge, which is called How much Korean can you learn in 3 weeks? And I'm realizing it's Monday and I have to go to Korea on the 22nd, which is way less than 3 weeks, but it's not as catchy to say, how much Korean can you learn in a little less than 3 weeks? But originally I wanted to do like the Mr. Miyagi thing where you go and you have like a super immersive experience in the mountaintops of South Korea and you have a mentor who like forces you to do push-ups as you're reciting grammatical things in Korean. But that's not going to happen because I have a lot of flights to catch and I have a lot of work to do in the next 3 weeks. I'm going to fly to Moscow on Friday and then work there for 5 days, and then I'm going to go to New York and look for apartments / go on camp for 7 days. After those 7 days in New York, I'm going to fly back to Asia. Now I'm in Mongolia, and I'm going to fly back to Seoul, and I'm going to give a speech. And we're going to see how much Korean I can learn in the less than 3 weeks that I've been given. So it's like very short. We're going to see how this works out. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Yanjaa, and I'm Mongolian. I was raised in Sweden, and I graduated high school in Kenya, and now I live in the States, and I'm looking for an apartment in New York. And next week I'm going to start looking for an apartment in New York, apparently. Yeah, so I'm a polyglot, and that is a fancy word for person who speaks many languages, albeit to varying degrees. I would say, like, I'm not as strong as I am in certain languages as I am in others. And it also is situation dependent and who I am around. If I am around people who have this opinion of me as like she speaks shitty Swedish, then for some reason that brings out the shitty Swedishness out of me, if that makes sense. Yeah. I wish I wasn't so affected by people's my perceived perceptions of people's perceived perceptions of me. So today I want to talk about the thing that I've learned today on my day 1, and today is the Monday the 6th. So I have like more like 2.5 weeks to learn it. I have learned how to read and write, albeit very slowly, but I have learned to read and write, and I wanted to share with you how I use memory techniques, albeit subconsciously, to memorize the Korean alphabet. And it's really fun because Korean is unlike many other Asian languages where there's more pictographics, where you have to learn like 3,000 Chinese characters just to be able to read the front page of a newspaper. And that's just what they say. I don't know. I don't know that many Chinese characters. I'm still really slow. It's actually super phonetic, and I must say it is probably the most phonetic alphabet I've encountered in my life. Like, Swedish is relatively phonetic, but then you like add double consonants, and then you have to like change the entire way that the vowel that comes before the consonant sounds. And then the closest I've ever gotten to a language that is as phonetic as the Korean alphabet is Swahili, and Swahili is just a different story. It's just like the most easy to learn language on earth. Maybe, I don't know, it gets a little complicated sometimes, and the same goes for Korean. But so Korean I'm in Mongolia, so you can hear my relatives screaming in the background. So the Korean alphabet, I'm gonna say, is less than 30 letters, and all the letters sound the way they're supposed to sound, with like very little change. There are some changes, but those are like a little more advanced than like when it's just your first day of learning how to read and write. Now I'm gonna teach you how I memorize Korean words, and how being able to speak a language that's closely related to Korean, such as Mongolian, it really helps with memorizing. So yeah, so let's see. I'm gonna teach you one word and 5 letters and one word. So let's see. We start with one of my favorite letters, which is S or S, and depending on the word, it seems like, I'm not sure. And how I remember that it's S is that I imagine that it's like a mountain summit. So it's like this, a mountain summit, and like maybe it's even a volcanic mountain summit. And then we have the next letter, we can do E, and this is an E sound. And in Swedish, a lot of the I's are E, and they look like this, so it's pretty easy for me to remember. So it all depends on like what languages you speak or what language you are more comfortable with to try to make the associations. So like it's just about like bridging that gap between what you don't know with what you do know, so that it's easier for you to attain new knowledge. So I is really easy for me, and then we have N, and this is N. And the way you can memorize that if you're a native English speaker, for example, is that it looks kind of like a nose. And then we have M, which is like this, a little box. And it's like this. And I memorized it as a map. So it's like a map, and then maybe it's a treasure map, so it has like a cool thing you want to see there, plus the road to get there from where you start. Yeah, so that's a map. So now we have S, I, N, M, and maybe we want to do U. So this is where my Mongolian comes in. This is an U. I've never learned IPA. IPA is a way to know how things are exactly pronounced in every language, and I've not learned it, so I use my own like phonetic language. And U is similar to Mongolian U, which is, I memorized it as Uth, which means cloud in Mongolian. So I'm imagining a cloud, and then it's like raining down just like one place. God strikes in one place. So these are 5 letters, S-I-N-M-U, but it's not I, it's I. And then, now I'm going to teach you, so you can play around with this with like all the other letters that you want to learn. And I'm going to just take these and I'm going to make them into like a little box over here. And I'm going to write a word. So one of the 2 words I suppose I know. Let's do this so we know. So the word is, let's see, I want green. So the word is S, N, sin or shin, and then mu. I apologize to all native Korean speakers and people who know better Korean than I do for my spelling, but this is what it looks like on day 1. So this is shinmun, if you can read it out, and when you say it fast, it's more like shimun. So it's like, oh, sorry, oops, I'm already thinking in Korean. N, mu, un. And here's where bridging the gap with languages that you already know is really helpful, because shin, I'm going to use something that looks less gross. Shin in Mongolian and Chinese and Japanese is new. Shin means new. And mun in Swedish means mouth. Speaking mouth. So it's shin mun, but when you say fast, apparently it's shimun. I might be doing the melody wrong. And the way this word actually means newspaper. And why it's easy for me to remember that it's newspaper is because shin means new, like newspaper, like the beginning part of newspaper, and then mun because it means mouth. I'm imagining that it means it probably means something else in Korean, but for now, because I haven't gotten there yet, mun in my mind is mouth, so like news spreading via mouth but on paper, if that makes sense. Shimun, shimun, shimun. And yeah, that's basically it, and I hope this was super helpful. And if you want to see all the stuff that I'm going to be doing, like traveling to Russia for a job and see the behind the scenes behind that job, and see me go hang out with only super powerful women in New York and find an apartment in New York, follow me on all the things. I'm Yanjaa on Facebook. I'm Yanjaa on Instagram.com, and subscribe to my channel. And if you haven't already, like this video. It really helps with stuff. And yeah, this has been a Memory Monday, and also the first of 3 weeks to Korean. I'm gonna come up with a very nifty name soon. So I'm gonna say the other word that I know right now, which is annyeong, annyeong. See you next week hopefully in Russia. Bye 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 bye. Annyeong annyeong annyeong.